shall be talking about how to make a multi-operational dynamic calculator, something like this, whereby you check for some operations such as Pythagorean theory, as well as other calculations or operations, volumes, perimeters, areas of your shapes, as well as statistical calculations like mean, median, range, variance, and mean deviation. All right, just stay put, grab your cup of tea, whatever it is you are taking to chill as we do this. All right. This is, for instance, you have the Pythagorean theorem that is given to you for you to check for the hypotenuse. You could do it with this calculator. Volume of a pyramid, just put in the parameters, the length, the width, the height. It checks it for you. For instance, when the length is 6, the width is 8, and the height is 9. Just click on calculate button, it checks it for you, and you see the result as 144. All right, so let's do it. Just follow us, hit the notification bell, and let's get at it. All right, for this tutorial, I already created a folder, and that folder I named it a dynamic calculator tutorial. And inside that folder, I have 3 folders: CSS, HTML, and JavaScript, which are the 3 programming interface that I'll be using for this tutorial. So just pay attention and get yourself acquainted with these formulas that we shall be using. All right, this is a HTML file here, and we create the HTML document structure using the shortcut Shift key, hold 1, press tab or enter, and it gives you this. Here I will rename the title to be dynamic multi operational calculator. All right, let me link the CSS file as well as the JavaScript file. Okay, so that is done. Direct here inside the body, we shall use the script tag that has src, which means source, to link the JavaScript file index.js. Okay, for this tutorial, I already got the fonts I'll be using, and these I pasted here. So I'll be making use of Google Fonts, and right inside the body, I will make use of the main tag, and inside the main tag, I'll put in the h1 element that I will type the title of what I want to, the title of this calculator as multi operational calculator. All right, right beneath the page 1 tag will be a label tag. This label will have for what? For operation. So remember, what this for works for you should be in tandem, should be the same thing with the ID that I will give beneath this label tag. So what the user will be seeing in this label option would be choose the choose calculation from the drop down below. Choose calculation from the drop down below. Okay, so solve for that discussion. Drop down below. So beneath the label tag would be the select tag. So it is from this select, I do not need this name, I only need the ID. So this ID is expected to have the same name as that of the for in the label tag. So operation. I'll be needing this in the JavaScript file. So it's very important you pay attention. The use of this ID, class, and tags, which are the major thing, the first thing you must know, basics for HTML file or HTML environment. So inside this select tag would be option. So this option will come with value. For this first one, I do not want it to have a value. So what the user will be saying is select the math operation of your choice. Okay, maybe we need to look at this, or let's just see do more. Let's enter more. So option. This next option, I would want it to have the value I want it to have would be area underscore rectangle. The user is expected to see here area of a rectangle. I would like to copy this down. So this would be area triangle. Area of a triangle. This would be area square. Area of a square. Let this be area trapezoid. Okay. If you're just hearing this for the first time, just know it is part of the shapes we have in mathematics. Trapezoid. So area of a trapezoid. This could be also checking for area of a circle or any other one. So maybe we'll go for let's say circle, area of a circle. Maybe let's call this rectangular prism. Rectangular prism. All right. So rectangular prism. After that, we'll check for area of a rhombus. Rhombus. Maybe that's not the correct pronunciation, but just know what it is. Just part of the shapes we have in mathematics. Okay. All right. Let's check for maybe so let's add also apart from areas we could go for okay the last thing I want us to add here is area of a cylinder, surface area. Cylinder could also have area. Of course, it's good you know we check for areas of 2D shapes and check for volumes of 3D shapes. So in this case, area of a cylinder. Let me name it surface area cylinder. Surface area cylinder. So area of a cylinder. Surface area of a cylinder. Let's open this page and see what we have. So copy part, or we'll use Shift Alternate C. Remember, this is the kind of thing we want to achieve. So just follow this tutorial, you will see how we will arrive at that. Okay, so I've pasted this on this web browser page where I want to display it. Let's just see the output of what we have. So when I entered it, it gave us this. Okay, so these are the values I've entered in the option tag, using the option tag. So when you go to the select the mass operation of your choice, you could choose from here. So ordinarily, when we add the CSS and JavaScript functions, and formattings. When you click on any of them, you would see the effect of selecting any of them. Alright, just follow us. Let's go back to the page, the VS Code. Alright, after entering these areas, I want us to check for perimeters. So here I want us to check for perimeter of the shapes we have, maybe like perimeter of a rectangle, perimeter of a square, circumference of a circle, and so on. Alright, just let's do it. So perimeter rectangle, perimeter rectangle, perimeter of a rectangle. Should I just copy all these things and then so okay, perimeter triangle of a triangle. Circumference of a circle. Let me still use perimeter of a square. Perimeter of a square. So perimeter square. Circumference. Circle. Then let's go for 3D shapes such as volumes. So in this case, this might be volume of a rectangular prism. Volume rectangular prism. Volume of a rectangular prism. Okay. Let's go for the volume of a cylinder. Yep. Then volume of a cone and volume of a sphere. So volume of a cylinder. No longer surface area now, but volume underscore cylinder. I want to copy this because I'll be pasting other shapes we are checking for volumes. Okay, so here should be changed to cone. Here should be changed to sphere. And then let's change this also to pyramid. Let's add that of pyramid. Pyramid. Sphere. Cool. Then let's go for Pythagorean theorem. So I'll change this entirely to Pythagorean. So we rename this Pythagorean theorem. So apart from that, let's add the the options for statistical calculation. So this part Let me rather copy this Pythagorean down. So here would be mean, median, range, so I would want this place to be mean deviation. All right, let me also add it here, underscore deviation. Here should be variance. We change this as well to range now, not variance, range. It's just good, knowing this statistical operation, you also know the formulas for checking them. Checking them is very important. So range here no longer mean but variance. So just pay up attention as we bring you this. So having added these options we are seeing here, the next thing I want us to do is to, beneath this select tag, to add an empty div where we shall append its child element using the JavaScript functions. All right, so let's do it. Now I will enter this empty div that would be given an ID using the shortcut Shift 3, which is hash. So what is the name of the ID I want to give to it? I want to give it the name inputs. Type it like and just say enter. It gives you this empty div. I don't want to add anything inside it. Let me just give space here. Of course, those spaces, they do not count. It will not change anything. So the next thing I want us to do is to add the space where we want the button calculating option or calculating button to be, and apart from that, we would also add the space where the result will be displayed. When we are done with this, we shall be done with the HTML part of this tutorial. All right, so just pay attention and share. All right, all right. So I'd like to give this a class. The name of the class will be calculate. Now inside this, I'll enter a button that will have an ID. So button hash, the ID will also be calculate. So just know the difference. I'm having a button with an ID calculate, but inside this button is a div that has a class calculate. All right, enter. With this, I immediately create a button with an ID calculate, but then the user is expected to see calculate. So all this is I've done now, the user will take see it. Okay, all right. So the last thing for this HTML part would be the space where the result will be displayed. Let me also use ID in this case. Give it an ID results, a div that has an ID result. I would like also to give this div a class of results, and inside this I would like to style it so that it does not display. If I leave it this way, let's go and refresh our page. Okay, when you refresh the page, you could see it appear here. But now let me, anyway, we've entered nothing, so there's nothing you would see here. Let me say enter cal. If I refresh this page, you could see it appear here. Now what I wanted to add here is the style using inline CSS. So style, I want to style it such that it does not display. So style display, should be none. Now, when I refresh this page, ordinarily you would see that it will no longer display. You see it disappear, right? So I do not want it to display. That's why I added display none. But I will now use the JavaScript to make it show so that the user can see what is there. Okay, I do not want this card to be there. I just use it as a for you to see what I want to do there. So in this case, let me now enter result. Now I want to create a span with an ID result value, result underscore value. All right, this is it. This result value, this ID is very important. I guess you might be thinking where this is taking us to at this point. So, done with the HTML part, let's now dive into the CSS. But at this point, I would want you to go for a break. Okay, just take a little break and come back. Okay, delve into the CSS part of this work. So in this CSS, I'll always like using the universal selector, which is this asterisk, to format or to enter the formattings that will run through the entire page, the entire work. So font family is Poppins, which I said I'm gonna use for this tutorial. So Poppins, of course, you could import this font directly in the CSS by copying the correct file path. But I imported it into the HTML, so I added in the HTML the head part. Okay, so font family. The next thing would be to add box sizing and make it to the border box. The next thing will be to add transition that I would want to run. So the transition properties I would want is using this all, and then the delay to 0.3 seconds, and then the effect will be easing out. Okay, so this is the way it will be for the entire page. So having done this on the using the universal selector, let me call the body tag and enter the formatting that I want to be in the body. Let the height be 100 VH view height. Let this entire body be displayed as flex. Okay. Watching our tutorials where we talked about flex wrap, all those things, you must have heard this before now. So when you display flex, it makes the child or the direct children of that element to align themselves along the horizontal axis. Okay, if they were aligning vertical, displaying them flex will make them align horizontally, adjacent to each other. All right, so here we would add some other properties that come with this display flex. So here I will add justify content, making it to be center, align items would also be center. Let's simply check. Remember, we've linked this CSS file to the HTML. All right, so let's check the output of this work. You could refresh by clicking here or press Ctrl R if you're using Windows to reload the page. You could see it appearing right at the center of our page. Okay, you're doing it, and you can also do that. Okay, after calling the body tag, I'll immediately go to the main tag, which comes immediately inside the body. So the main tag, let's give it a max width of about 500 pixels, maximum width. It could get less than that. Then box, let's add box shadow. Let this box shadow take the unit of maybe 0, 0, 10 pixel. Then let me use the color I would want to be 0000. No, I should have added hash 000. Should be up to 6246. Let me add the opacity DE. So reload this page, you could see it. Okay, just continue. We've not finished adding what we want. So padding of about 20 pixels. This is the effect of adding padding to this. It will no longer be at the edge like this. This is what it does. You could see it when I reload the page. So padding adds space, extra space from inside that element. The next thing I want us to add is border radius for it to have a little curved edge. So let this be 8 pixels. Then background color would be ash, maybe F9, F9, F9. I guess this will do. Let's check it. All right. Okay, let's get at it. I would now like to select the select tag and then the input at the same time. Select, comma, input. So I would like to display them as block. Then let the width. Displaying element as block is that it no longer allows another element to come beside it. So let the width be 90%. Of course, 90% is a relative measurement, relative unit measurement. So it's in relative to the parent element, in relation to the parent element. So if I make it 100%, it means it's going to be in the same width, like the same measurement with the parent element. So it is taking 90% of the parent element. Let's reload this page and you would see the effect of this 90% I added on this select tag you're seeing. Okay, so it has stretched. And when the input will be added in from the JavaScript file, it will also take the same length. So that's why I want this formatting I'm giving to be on the select as well as on the input that is yet to be appended. All right, so let's get at it. Let the padding be 0.75 rem. What does I want to add? A font size that would be befitting to this would be 1 rem. I guess that would be good. Okay, let's quickly add margin. So margin adds extra space outside of that element. So this margin I want to add is top and bottom of this select as well as the input will be 10 pixels, while left and right will be 0. Okay, so wow, you are really doing it. I know you can do this on your own. So try this. Okay, having worked on this label as well as input, now let's quickly add some other formatting that would be on the button. This calculate option you're seeing here. So button. In that case, what I would like us to do first, it will be okay, all right. So let's call the button. I would also like to make this thing bold. That's this label option. So let's call label, make it bold. Then work on this button to bring it to the center and to add color to it. So what you do with the CSS is always to add stylings. You know, the functionalities will be added using JavaScript. So the functions that each button that you click will perform, each option of the tag that you select from the select option, each option you select, the functions will be added from the JavaScript. So here you are in the right track where we are styling this calculator to look somehow, beautiful. just giving it a small color. So let's get at it. Not talking too much. Okay, so button is a tag, so I'm calling it like that. Let's say the width is made to be at 35%. I'm setting the font weight to be bold. Either I use bold or use 700, both of them are the same. Then I'm also setting the color to be white and the code is #FFF. I'm also going to set the border to be none. Let me also set the cursor to be pointer, and I will also set the font size. That's good. Font size to be 100. What else do I want to add there? Padding. Extra spaces from the inside, 7.5 rem will do. Okay, having added that, I would want to work on the border radius. Now let's refresh this page. You're actually not seeing it clearly. Yeah, it's not that obvious. Now let me add background color to it so that it becomes more obvious. Background color would be ash 4CA. What to give that? 545. Okay, I guess that is a good green color. Good. So it's still here. I would want to bring it to the center of this page. This button has been put inside a div. Let me call that div and center align it. So let me do that before this. Dot calculate. So this dot is calling a class that has a name, calculate. Text align, center. Okay, refresh this page. Wow, it is there. There's a small style now I like to add to that button so that it looks, a bit sharp. Let me add a border radius. Let this border radius be 10 pixels 0, 10 pixels 0. All right. This would make the edges, maybe this edge and this edge, to be curved, whereas this point are not curved. So refresh this page, it gives you this. All right, that's done. Let's quickly style the part where the result will appear, though it has been made to display none. For now, it will still appear using the JavaScript commands. I would like to add a hover effect on this button. How do I do that? Button hover. So when I hover on it, what should happen? When I hover on this button, what should happen? Okay, let the background color change a bit to ash, maybe 0F7014. I do not know if that gives us a dark green color. Okay, that's good. Then another thing will be scaling. I would like to scale it. So let it transform, and the transform effect to be scale. How does it scale? It shrinks a bit when I hover on it. If I make this to be 1 point or 2 points, it increases bigger than it is. So this reduces it. The normal scale is 1, but anything less than 1 reduces it. Anything higher than 1 increases it. Hope you are making sense. You're following it. Okay. All right. So let's reload this page. Hover on it. You could see it. So when I hover, the color becomes darker and it shrinks. Let's go on. I want to call the H1 element before this button. So H1. Let me add color to it. Let the color be ash 333. Let's see if it's effective. EA F7 EA. Alright, that will be a light green color. And after doing this, I would like us to add also the font size. Okay, so the font size would be 1.1 rem. And lastly, I would want us to center align the text. So text align with the center. Okay, even if we check our web browser, reloads it, even if you reload it, it will still not change anything because we've made the display to be none. And we did that using inline CSS here in the first part of the tutorial. So we made display to be none. If we make display block, let's go back to it, reload the page, you will see the effect of what we did. The result is at the center. The background is a very light background. Okay, so this brings us to the end of the CSS part of um, this tutorial that will now lead us into the JavaScript. So the next thing we'll do now is the functions that will be added. So stay tuned, hit the notification bell, and subscribe our YouTube page. Okay.